Welcome everybody, it's Stephanie Grams, CEO and founder of the Keepsake Business Academy, and this is our quarterly check-in video. Today is March 2nd, 2024, and for many of my students, this is the beginning of the end of quarter one for 2024. So I like to go over some quarterly prompts, give you some things to think about moving forward. This video is going to be played online for free, but there's more in-depth information on this video that will be shared with my students along with the printout. So if you're interested in having more information at your fingertips without wasting time having to search and go find the answers yourself, all of those questions and answers will be in the paying student portal at keepsakebusinessacademy.com. And if you have questions or get lost with anything I have to say, please reach out at stephaniegrams.com. Get on the newsletter. You can submit your questions to me via the newsletter that you would get once you sign up. All right, so there's no particular order for today's quarterly check-in. I'm just going to say number 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just how I have it in my notes, but you can skip around to whatever is most important to you at the moment. And if you're new to all of this, or you are still considered a hobbyist when it comes to keepsakes and memory bears and things like that, you might think about taking the plunge into the business side of the sewing business. And again, that's where you would get all the information at keepsakebusinessacademy.com. So we're just going to start with the financial performance. That sounds like some of these terms sound very corporate, and so I have made them more relatable for the Memory Bear and Keepsake business owner such as myself. And if you are a hobbyist and you have considered turning it into a business, then and you're not really sure you want to spend a little bit of money to join, get on the free newsletter at stephaniegrams.com. I do give out a free newsletter a few times a month with some really great information. But moving forward, let's just see what we can do for this quarter. So an easy to understand meaning, I'm going to give you some easy to understand meanings throughout this video. So when I say financial performance, I'm just going to give a little bit of a little more easy understanding of how that relates to us and not just big corporations. But really, it's just your financial performance is really just knowing how well your business is doing financially. If you haven't quite started yet, maybe you're a new student and you don't have the financials, don't zone out on me yet, because this is going to be very worth your while to learn and to understand now at the beginning stages, just as relevant as if you've been in business for a while. But basically, it involves looking at the factors like how much money you're making, which is revenue, and how much you're spending, which would be considered expenses, and whether or not you're making a profit. Now, profit is revenue minus expenses. And so sometimes individuals, new students particularly, have issues with pricing and things like that. And so we do talk about that in depth in the academy. If you're a paying student and if you get stuck in any of the modules, I have a private email address that you can reach out to me as a paying student, where you get the free one-on-one coaching. So please make sure, if you're a student and you're watching this, if you have questions, please use that private email address that's in your portal to send me your questions. Okay, so when you take your revenue, which is the money you're bringing in, and you write down the expenses, which is money going out, you should have a profit. If there's no profit, then there's no cash flow, and no cash flow means potentially no real business. And so that would be considered being a hobby or hobbyist. So if you think you're in business but you don't have any profit, then you're more than likely a hobbyist. Again, that's something we can talk about in the student portal. So an example of your financial performance, let me scroll my notes down here just a little bit, would be tracking your monthly revenue and comparing it to the expenses going out to see if you are profitable. Keeping detailed records of your material cost, equipment maintenance, and other business-related expenses. Again, we can have a whole checklist for you in the student portal, because until you have been in this business, you may not realize all of the business expenses that you have when it comes to Memory Bears and Keepsakes. Let's see here. Are you monitoring the cash flow to ensure that you are covering all of the costs related? And if there is a positive cash flow, then you have a profit. We have an extensive list, which as a student, you will get exactly what I am reading from. So we're going to move on to customer satisfaction. So as you move through the quarters of 2024 and beyond, right, you want to ask yourself these questions on a regular basis. I personally ask myself every single month, just so I can make sure I am moving forward throughout the year and meeting my quarterly goals. Now, it's not unusual, at least in the keepsake business industry, that especially Memory Bears and so forth, it's not unusual to have a slow period of time. Now, if you're going several weeks without having an order in your calendar, that's not really a typical situation. So you might be missing a piece of the puzzle with your business. Before you just start asking me questions, I really highly recommend that you join the Academy, because that's where it can answer the questions you have and get you thinking beyond where you're at today. I do have some student testimonials of students that have been working their way through the modules. So if you'd like to see any of those, just follow the community tab on my YouTube channel. I will post those as they come in. Some of my students are shy and some have just started. So as the testimonials come in, just check the YouTube community tab and I'll post those there. Okay, so number 2 was the customer satisfaction. So what that essentially that means, are you ensuring that your customers are having a positive experience and if they're pleased with the business and services that you're offering? It's sometimes you will have a customer that just doesn't like what you've produced. Now, that can happen for many reasons, and some of those reasons may be just that they honestly are upset about something that was or was not done. It really does come down to communication, and as the business owner, you have to lead the conversation with your customer or potential customer. So, if that's something you need to work on, we can do that in the student portal as well. But basically, your customer satisfaction, that's the feedback that you get from your customer. Are they giving you 5 stars? Are they giving you 1 star? Are they asking for a certain type of personalization? Are they asking for something different than what you're offering? Do you see an upward trend? Maybe you had one type of customer persona in your mind, but you seem to attract somebody completely unrelated to that, and you see that more often. So those are some things that can play a part in the customer satisfaction quarterly review. So keep your notes. I show my students the business binder that I've created for myself. I've used it throughout my business for years and years and years. Even when I was an online business manager, I had my own business binder. And then at one point when I worked for a nonprofit, I created a binder system for all of the directors to follow and use for the nonprofit. They found it very helpful. And so that's just something I've carried along throughout my life as an entrepreneur. So going back to customer satisfaction, keep your notes, keep those in your binder, keep yourself organized, and that way you can hold yourself and your business accountable. Another thing to think about with customer satisfaction is, are you gathering positive reviews and positive testimonials? Are you seeing pictures of your items with the customer? Are they giving you a shout out on social media? Or if you're a local business, are they referring locals to your business. Those are all part of the customer satisfaction cycle, I like to call it. So this is a great time to write down what's working or what you would hope you would see. If you were hoping to get or to gain additional testimonials, and you know the customer was happy, but you never really got a customer testimonial from them, now's a really good time to make sure that you reach out and say, hey, Mrs. or Mr. So-and-so, I remember making your bear and you really loved that memory bear. Do you mind if giving me a testimonial I can share online? I can blur out your last name or even your face if you would like me to. And more than likely, the customer, since they were pleased, they will allow you to do that. So definitely keep track of your orders and your customers. Are you getting any feedback on whether or not they like the packaging? If you ship your bears, there's some extra steps that you have to take in order to ensure the bears arrive safely, and that is something I share in the modules with my students. And if you're a student and you finish the modules and you didn't see that, please let me know and I will bring that to the front for you. All right, number 3 is the operational efficiency. So basically, that just means helping you run smoother and be more productive. I'm trying to stay away from the corporate meeting and then bring it into our arena, our industry for memory bears and keepsakes. So let's see here. Did you face any challenges in creating or delivering your memory bears? And if so, how can you change the process so you don't continuously run into those types of challenges? A challenge that can happen, and it did happen years back for me, and so now I am more aware of that challenge, is finding the thick, clear plastic bags that I use for shipping my bears. I found a really good source for this particular need, and so whenever I see this particular item on sale, I order double or triple quantities of this particular packaging bag. And as a student, I can share my sources with you. Just look in the student portal and I will list that there along with these handouts, by the way. So that way you can learn more. Are there opportunities that you can utilize to speed up the process and accuracy of creating your keepsake? I have always been a fan of the assembly line technique. That's a technique I've taught on YouTube for the past 3, 4, at least maybe 5 years now. And it is in a playlist in my YouTube channel. And it is something that I can re-record if you're interested in that. But the assembly line for large orders, it really does, it saves you time. It saves you from making mistakes. Large orders take special time considerations and design considerations as opposed to having an order for 1, 2, or 3 bears. I have had several orders where there were 5 to 13 bears, and I had to be very creative on how I mixed up the fabric, the clothing that was sent to me. So that is something that if you are trying to grow your memory bear business, you want to learn that technique and get it down. It saves you time, and it makes for very happy customers. Let's go on to number 4, marketing effectiveness. This is a huge struggle for many business owners in the keepsake industry, not just memory bear and sentimental stuffed animal creators. This is something I think really it doesn't even matter what company you own. Marketing effectiveness is always at the top of the concern list of, am I doing the best I can do in this area? So marketing effectiveness is basically getting the most out of your marketing efforts so you can see real results. And those results may be increased awareness. Remember, increased awareness, it doesn't always mean additional sales. I know that's how we want to think of marketing, and that is truly the goal of marketing, right? To grow and offer more sales and things like that. But you have to kind of look outside the monetary return on investment. You need to know, okay, have you increased fans or followers? Do you have increase in newsletter subscribers? Do you have more individuals reaching out to you about your services? Even if it does not equal a sale, you will know your marketing efforts are working when people follow you, like you, join your newsletter, ask you questions. That means it is working. Now, yes, we want your marketing to always have a return on investment monetarily wise, and it's the real world and it doesn't always work that way. So always chart yourself. What marketing efforts did you do and what was the outcome? Again, don't always just have your eyes on those dollar signs. Think about the lives that you're educating. How are you educating your perfect customer? That is part of the big picture when it comes to marketing. Ultimately, yes, you want sales. I understand you've got taxes to pay and utilities and cost of living and things like that. But just don't overlook the effectiveness of the marketing that you're doing. All right, so we are going to go on to number 5, and that is inventory management. Now, one thing I love about this industry, about being a memory bear maker, yes, I enjoy helping individuals through special times in their lives, whether it's a new baby, a new wedding, somebody has passed away and they need something tangible to hug and to hold on to. I like being part of that person and that family's story on how I'm able to help them. And so that's the message I try to convey to my students through everything that we do in this industry. You have to have passion and focus, and you have to love others. Otherwise, you're just not going to be a great memory bear and keepsake creator. You will just blend in with everybody in the stuffed animal field. And so, yes, we make stuffed animals, right? But we do it in a way that brings comfort and healing to others going through life changes and journeys in life. So all of that has to do with inventory, because we don't necessarily have to keep a big inventory. Yes, there are things that we need to inventory, and there's a whole list of items to consider as far as inventory items. But in the big scheme of things, we really don't need much space. Our inventory really can take 1 or 2 shelves, or even the top of like a closet space. You don't need a bunch of space for inventory. So when I use the word inventory, when it comes to memory bears and keepsakes, there's really truly not a lot of space that you technically need. But keeping that in mind, your inventory is basically balancing what you already have with what you need so you can run your business smoothly and make your customers happy. What really turns a customer off is if you say, this type of embroidery thread is on back sale, or, oh, you know what, I ran out of the special kind of polyfill or pellets that I use and I have to special order it. You don't want to run into that situation as a business owner. Just think like if you were going to the store, you're turned off if they don't have the inventory that you were hoping they had, or they advertised that they had. So keep that in mind. And I could go on and on about that, but I'll save you from that video. Save you from that. All right, number 6 is your brand perception. Remember, we're going over a quarterly check-in. So with this being March 2nd, 2024, you're in the very beginning of the year, your first quarter. This is the quarter where you make all the changes that you necessarily need to make to have a better year moving forward. So don't be down on yourself. Don't think that you're not doing a good job. Remember, you're not late, you're right on time. One of my favorite YouTubers, she does women's devotions online. She always says that. And so I've picked that up from her. Thanks, Heather. I don't think Heather's watching, but I got that from her. And so just think of taking one whole day to yourself, go through this video and write down where you're at, be honest with yourself, and where you want to be. Again, I will tell you over and over and over again, the best place to be is at the KeepsakeBusinessAcademy.com, and save yourself a headache and have a better year this year. So number 6, brand perception. So brand perception gets all kinds of opinions online. And so it does play a part with the color scheme, the fonts you choose, all kinds of things. But basically it's about the reputation and image of your business that your customers have in mind. So what does your customer think about you? And what is the community that they hang out with? What is it that they are drawn to you and your business? So that's the brand perception. If you're driving downtown or wherever you live and you see a particular sign, what comes to mind about that company? Sorry, my hair is getting stuck in this. That could be an example of brand perception. So you want to keep that in mind also. So continuing on with brand perception, brand perception for a small business, not hobbyist, but small business owner, refers to how people see and feel of what they feel about your business. Basically, as an example, it would be if customers think your products are high quality and you have great customer service, you're friendly and you're helpful, and you walk them through the ordering process, you make sure their product is delivered, through the follow-through, communication, and so forth, they're going to have a positive perspective on you and your company. On the other hand, though, if they have a negative experience or they hear bad things about you, then their perception may not be very favorable. So keep in mind your whole brand. Yes, it involves, when you think of branding, right? You think of the color schemes, the font choices, the graphics, all of that. But sometimes you have to think beyond that. What are people saying about you? And if you're new in business, you probably don't have too many people talking about you. And so just keep that in mind while you are forming your company. What do you envision for yourself in your business? What do you hope people will say about your creations? What your keepsake business says about you as the owner? Are you friendly? Do you listen? Do you yourself take constructive criticism well? And remember, there's different types of criticism. So constructive is something coming from a positive side, trying to help you better yourself. Whereas the negative criticism, as a business owner, we get that. I'm sure I get that under the comments of my videos. They're out to destroy me as a person and things like that. So you know which ones to accept and which ones to totally ignore, because they're coming from trolls or even a competitor. So make sure that you know what you're reading and how to interpret what it is what feedback they're giving to you. So don't take everything to heart is basically what I'm saying, but do listen to what your customers have to say about your products, your service, your communication, things like that. That way you can better your business as you grow. All right, so number 7 is competitor analysis. Don't skip out on this one. It's not difficult. It's not super tricky. And it is important. Even if you only want to scale your business to make $1,000 a month, and I do have an ebook on that also, and my students love it, by the way. Even if you're not a student, you can purchase that in the Etsy shop. The the links below. But if you want to just basically make $1,000 a month and supplement your income, you still need to know your competition out there. And remember, you're not out to copy somebody. You just need to be, when I always give a warning with this, with our industry. This might not be a fact for all industries, but for our industry specifically, we need to be very, very careful about what we see as a competitor, because who you might think is a competitor may not even have your customer in mind. So everything I say, make sure that you already know who your customer is as you're working through this. If you don't know who your customer is, you really need to be part of the academy. Okay, so your competitor analysis is basically, it helps you stay competitive. It helps you find opportunities to improve and to grow your keepsake business. I would really like you to look at your competition as that, and not in a corporate way, especially in this field. How can you keep your business evolving with the trends? And I did a whole video on trends back in maybe January or February of this year. It's in the Lunch and Learn series. If you haven't watched all those Lunch and Learns, please listen to them in the background. You don't even have to watch the video. It's just, I recorded it as a podcast, so you could just click play on the playlist and just listen to it in the background. That way, if you're working or something, you can still get the tidbits of information. But, what are the trends? How's this market evolving? So keep that all in mind when you're thinking about a competitor analysis. Who's your competitor? What are they doing? Things like that. But for this video, to keep it under 30 minutes, we'll just glaze over on each of these goals. All right, number 8 is goal progress. So for your business, number 8 is goal progress. And so, are you hitting targets? If you're brand new, maybe you don't have any goals written out, and I think that's okay. Now is a great time to write down your goals and know where you want to be throughout the year, that kind of thing. But if you've been in business, or if you're one of my students at the Keepsake Business Academy, do you have a monetary goal in mind? Like, make X amount more, dollars, a percentage more. Are you staying focused? How well are you doing on meeting some of the milestones that you have for your business? Not everything equals dollars right now, but everything you do will eventually equal dollars. So keep that in mind. Today, posting it on social media doesn't mean you'll have a sale today, but what you post on social media today may be equal to a sale in a week from now. So kind of remember to chart your progress. Yes, and when it does end up as a sale, you want to document that. Even if you are just a team, a business owner of one, and it's just you want to be able to see how every action and all the energy you're putting into your business is making your business grow. So don't overlook everything you do. This is why I talk about that business binder a lot. Document everything, whether it's digital, paper. I use both. I use digital and paper, but I'm a paper person. And so my business binder gets used constantly. Always chart your progress. Did you set a goal in January and you met that goal right now? If not, how close are you to meeting that goal? Maybe you had a goal of 5 orders, 5 bear orders in 6 weeks, Well, maybe you ended up with 3 orders in those 6 weeks. That's still progress. So you want to write that out and say, okay, maybe my marketing fell short. Maybe I skipped a few days on posting about business and my customers, or maybe there's just one little thing that you did not focus on. that could have made the difference in getting the next sale. A lot of times though, we go back to who's your customer and what are you saying to them, and are you listening to them? It's a two-way street with this communication. You need to talk, but you also need to listen. And so always having an active ear, that's where this business growth goes. All right, so let me see here. All right, so number 9 is titled long-term strategy. And if you're really new and you're just beginning, maybe you feel like the thoughts you have in your head, the goals or dreams you have in your thoughts are just too far-fetched. And I really want you to write that down. If you have your business binder, journal that out. If you doubt your skills, if you doubt your marketing, if you feel like you're really talented in one service and not a particularly great speaker, and being in front of the camera is not your thing. And this is just an example. Write that down, because when you get those thoughts, those worries or anxieties out of your head and you put them in paper and you write them out, they don't seem so scary after all. And really, if you think about it, if you are wasting a lot of time on worry or concern, that means you're not freeing yourself up to work and make progress with your business goals. So just get it out on paper. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. Again, you're not being graded. This is just for you and yourself alone. But you really want to make sure that those hopes, those dreams, those goals that you have for your Memory Bear Keepsake business come to fruition. And, I like to remind my students, and you, if you're watching along, you can grow a business to how you want to, and you can take all these classes, but until you implement these strategies and these steps and you work your way through the lessons, you're not technically going to see the success that you hope to have. So it's kind of, that saying where they say you can lead the horse to water, you can't make it drink kind of thing. I mean, I grew up with that. Yes, I'm pushing 50 years old, but I like to remind my adult daughters the same thing. You go to school and you learn, but until you implement the things, all your knowledge is no good. So definitely put into practice everything that you're learning through the Lunch and Learn videos. If you're a student, through all the modules. It's not about working towards perfection. It's perfecting as you go. You have to make the first move. The first move is rarely a home run, right? So when you sit down to think about these long-term goals and long-term strategies, really be honest with yourself. What have you learned, and have you implemented the steps along the way? So, I hate to keep going, but basically the long-term strategy is thinking ahead and laying out the roadmap for where you want to be. So you have to first be honest with yourself about where you're at, and then where you want to be. And there's going to be a gap, and that gap is where you gain the knowledge to make the right steps from the beginning to the end. So think of your long-term strategy not as an impossible hurdle. Don't doubt yourself. I want you to take that as a healthy challenge. Okay, I want you to challenge yourself in a healthy way to take the knowledge that you have, the skills that you have today, and be honest where you're really strong at and where you're really not strong at, where your weaknesses are, and write those out, and then find out what you don't know in between. A lot of students didn't know what they didn't know, and then they join the academy and they're like, oh, that is the missing piece. That's right. That's what I need to do. So I hope that this video series or video of quarterly check-in for March 2024 is a good one for you. I try to stay on topic. As always, you can get the free newsletter at stephaniegrams.com. And if you're ready to join, you can go to keepsakebusinessacademy.com. And I hope that you will like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It helps YouTube know that what I'm saying is important, and it's free. giving me a like, a nice comment, subscribing, watching the videos, or at least listening to them play in the background helps me grow, and it doesn't cost you anything. Again, this is Stephanie Grams. I hope you have a wonderful day.